Chris, obviously it's no shock to anybody that's watching this video that Oklahoma has struggled their first year in the SEC. And I want to talk about that for a minute. Why are they struggling? Why are they not doing as good as what a lot of Oklahoma fans thought they were going to be doing going into this year, into the SEC? And I want to kind of dive into this a little bit. Right now, Oklahoma currently ranks 129th in the country in total offense. 129th. They also rank 41st in terms of total defense. So the defense really not the problem this year, I wouldn't say. They've done okay, I think, defensively this year is what it is. A major problem, though, the Sooners are experiencing is their inability to rush the football. They currently rank 110th, and they don't have a running back that has over 374 yards or more than 2 touchdowns, making these quarterbacks, Hawkins and Arnold's life, a living hell back there. They can't run the ball. You look at it, the quarterbacks haven't turned the ball over that much, especially with interceptions or anything like that. I think both of them have combined for 5 total interceptions this year. So that only leaves one thing. What about the offensive line, you ask? They rank dead last in terms of sacks allowed. They've given up 39 sacks this year. Chris, we're going to touch on this here in a minute, you know what I mean? But how much longer can OU faithful stand by Brent Venables? I mean, seriously, how much longer can they?
I agree with you on this. Like, the offense is absolutely atrocious. And why you say that about Venables, I say that they're going to lose Jackson Arnold at the end of the year. They benched him, pissed him off. Do you lose Hawkins too? Because what is going on here when you're playing? They keep rotating him in and out now, and I don't think that's a good thing as well. I know they're totally 2 different quarterbacks as far as styles go, but I honestly, I hate to say this, but Brent Venables reminds me of a guy kind of like a Bo Pelini for Nebraska today. I think he should have just stayed a defensive coordinator. I think he was good. He's proven that at OU. Their defense has been a lot better and getting better the last few years. But I'm with you offensively. I mean, it's an absolute joke. I mean, this team, like, you look at the scores here, I'm not going to knock them for losing to Ole Miss, but the South Carolina game was a joke. I mean, that was at home too, Christian. And we know what they didn't do against Texas. You lost to Tennessee in a close one. You barely beat a bad Houston team. I mean, we said it to start the year. We did a preview and prediction video of Oklahoma, Christian. You said they were going to go 7-5, and I said 6-6. I'll never forget that. We caught a shit ton of flack from the OU man. They're going 10-2. They're a lock for the playoff. Is the SEC too much for them, Christian?
I think it's multiple things. Even before they got into SEC play, I mean, they looked like they were struggling, putting up 16 points against Houston, 34 against Tulane. You know what I mean? 15 against. I mean, Tennessee. I understand that. 27 against Auburn. I mean, you look at some of these games, and they just haven't really been able to move the ball. And I get it. They've had 5 wide receivers or whatever it is. That have gotten hurt, and that's really hamstrung this offense. And I understand it, but at a certain point, it's next man up. Even in the SEC, it's got to be next man up. And I think that, again, their biggest issue has been their offensive line play throughout this whole thing. I get it. Oklahoma's been banged up. You can make whatever excuse you want to make for it. You can comment underneath this, or you can come meet us on Saturdays where we stand on business here at the I-80 Boys. And we'd love to have that conversation with you live. But I can tell you right now, the thing of it is, they just haven't gotten it done. Make whatever excuse you want to. Every team every year gets banged up to some degree. You think if Georgia was down to Jesus Christ, Georgia literally is starting their 3rd string wide receiver as their number 1 option now because 2 of their guys have gotten kicked off the team going into this year. You know what I mean? And that's just for a sample there for you. To me, when we look at Brent Venables, we look at where this program is at, where they're going forward, Chris. Look, I like Brent Venables. Don't get me wrong. I actually like him. I think he's on paper, I mean, he's a tough-nosed, defensive-minded guy, like you said, that probably should still be a defensive coordinator somewhere, right? He did all that stuff at Clemson, got their defense squared away, got them right. But in reality, the offense has regressed significantly in his time there. And outside of this year, let's be honest, defensively, they've gotten gashed every other year since he's been there. Going forward after this week, OU plays 3 top 25 teams in a row to end the season: Missouri, Alabama, and LSU. They're currently 500, but Chris, winning 6 to 7 games a year at a place like Oklahoma is simply not going to be enough for them. It's not going to be enough for Venables to keep his job.
No, I agree with you. Like I said, they'll beat Maine obviously this week, but they're losing the next three. I honestly don't even think they'll beat Missouri. It's not to sit here and shit on Oklahoma, but it's not good, man. I expected more even out of even me saying that they were going to go 6-6 this year with their schedule, which is relatively tough, as you can see. They're not equipped for the SEC, Christian. I'll come out and say it. Like I said, you can let me know down in the comments how I'm wrong, but they're not. I thought last year, when they were in the Big 12, Christian, we talk about this with Texas too, right? They sit there and they bully these teams, right? You can bully the Iowa States and the BYUs and Cincinnati's of the world. You go over to the SEC where it is the top conference in the country, and I don't even think it's close from top to bottom as far as strength of teams go. They weren't well equipped anyway to go to the SEC, in my opinion. Texas definitely was. We saw what they were last year at the end of the year, making the 14 playoff, beating Alabama. What's really Oklahoma done under Venables, Christian? I mean, if you got an answer, please let me know.
I don't.